Sports fans. In this segment, I'm going to be discussing a little bit about the U.S. Open that's going to be played at Winged Foot at Mamaroneck, New York. The last time it was played there in 2006, Australian Geoff Ogilvy won with a winning score of 5 over par. Just shows you how difficult the golf course is. And that's the second time the U.S. Open has been won there with an aggregate score over par. I don't know how it's going to play this year, especially with it not being June, but I would expect a tough course layout, much like it was in 2006. And it'll be interesting to see, how the weather, especially if it's cooler, which I would imagine it would be, and any wind will affect the tournament and ball flight. If you recall, Phil Mickelson had one of his 6 second-place finishes in that U.S. Open as he tied with Jim Furyk and Colin Montgomery that year, a stroke back of Geoff Ogilvy. That was also the year that Tiger Woods' father passed away, which caused him to miss his first cut in the U.S. Open. I would say if Tiger Woods misses the cut at this year's U.S. Open, it'll be for a much different reason, primarily related to his age. I'm hoping he'll make the cut. I don't know if he will. It will be interesting to see because, of course, there have been a limited number of tournaments, and Tiger Woods still hasn't played in that many this calendar year, to be sure. In terms of some of the other players that I think will do well there, or who will do well there, I would imagine that Dustin Johnson will be in contention. Brooks Koepka has enough U.S. Open experience. It's going to be interesting to see how he does. It'll be interesting to see how Rory McIlroy does, as well as Jon Rahm. I don't think you can count him out. However, I would expect, given the history of it, for a big-name player to not win this tournament. I think it's going to be somebody that's unexpected. And again, in 2006, when the winning score was over par, that was the first time in 28 years that had occurred. And I believe in 78 that would have been at Cherry Hill, if I remember correctly. So with that having been said, it's very likely that a winning score over par is going to occur again. It all depends on how tough they make the course and what the weather and the wind conditions especially are like. So, should make for a very interesting major, to say the least. In the next segment, which will be the final segment, I will wrap this up with a little bit about this year's Tour de France. Stay tuned to Sports with Ed on Ed's Sports Channel.